Yes, ladies and gentlemen, what's going on? It's Egal Talks Football. We're back again with another video. How are you guys doing today? Arsenal just beat Manchester United 1-0 away at Old Trafford. We have now done the double over Manchester United this season. And you know what? Breaking that Old Trafford hoodoo. Everyone always says, you know what, away at Old Trafford, you're going to lose, you're going to drop points. No, we didn't. Away at what do you call it? White Hart Lane, people say we're going to drop points. No, we didn't. And everyone always says, oh, you're going to bottle it. You're going to bottle it. You're going to bottle it. Arsenal are going to the final day of the season, of the Premier League campaign this season with Manchester City. And that is where the league title will be decided on the final day of the season. People talking about goal difference, people talking about everything else. All that mattered was the 3 points. Nothing else mattered but the 3 points, and we got the 3 points. The reason why we're talking about, is it a Mikel Arteta masterclass, question mark, or is it just another poor performance for you guys from our attack? Let me know what you guys think. Do you consider this a poor performance, or do you consider this a Mikel Arteta masterclass? First things first, you got to realize that Mikel Arteta's setup, he set up very defensive and respected the opponent today. And we went there, and it was a situation where we forced them into errors. I don't personally think it was a masterclass. I'm asking you guys a question if it was a masterclass, because in my opinion, I don't think he went with the right approach. I think Mikel Arteta made a mistake. I think he should have gone with more of an aggressive approach. He should have maybe pushed for the game. And Thomas Partey was shaky today. Thomas Partey was poor. I think Thomas Partey was one of the most sloppy players on the pitch for Arsenal today. And everyone's going to say I have a Thomas Partey agenda. It's not an agenda. It's just I don't think after this season we're going to be seeing much of him anymore at Arsenal. Now, let me ask you guys this. Did you think we're gonna have to break down the penalty? I thought we got lucky. I thought we got a little lucky with the penalty situation. It could have gone against us. On another day, that wouldn't have been a penalty. On another day, that would have been another situation where somebody else would have got a penalty and it wouldn't have been overturned, in my opinion. If that penalty was given, it would not have been overturned. That's just me. So we kind of got lucky that the penalty didn't get given. Also, we lacked the cutting edge today overall to win this game. We should have won this game by 3, 4, 5. We're that good. We should win it by more goals. But it's just Manchester United did well. Amrabat did well. Diallo did well for them. And for Arsenal, the opening goal, Casemiro did well for us. Casemiro definitely did really well on keeping the whole league onside for that goal. And who cares? All we care about is the 3 points, right? That's all we care about. All we care about is the 3 points. That's all that matters, in my opinion. So I think people need to relax a little bit. People need to stop overanalyzing the performance. The performance doesn't matter. At this point of the season, what matters is the 3 points. We don't care if it's a 1-0 victory, a 2-0 victory. I know it would be nice for goal difference to get 4, 5, 6-0 against Manchester United, but that's just not how the cookie crumbled today. So we got to look at it this game, and we got to say to ourselves, did we approach it the right way? What do you think about the performance? And let me know in the comment section what standout moment stands out to you. To me, what I am happy about is the opening minutes, getting that goal, Leandro Trossard, the good build-up play, Kai Havertz being a key part, Mikel Arteta signing Kai Havertz this season, being a key part in another win late in the season in the title running. He's been fantastic. William Saliba, man of the match, the best player on the pitch, defensively just shut down everything that came from Manchester United. They couldn't do nothing. Every fire that was there, William Saliba was putting it out in a heartbeat. Now, we can talk about the title race and everything in a second later on, but you said that it's a Mikel Arteta masterclass, Gunnar Sulz. Why is it a Mikel Arteta masterclass? Let me know.
So, I mean, when you look at the overall game, we're going to a stadium which we haven't had much success other than, I think it was 2017 when we pivoted with El Neni and Xhaka, or El Neni and Partey, and that was the 1-0 win that we got with the Aubameyang goal. Other than that, we haven't actually had any success at Old Trafford, regardless of how good we've played. And I understand people are going to sit here and say that, you know, they had Casemiro at centre-back, they had Bruno missing, they had Marcus Rashford missing. Don't forget that United team that beat us 8-2. You know, they also were riddled with injuries, but they managed to do a job. It's just a ground we haven't travelled well to. And what Mikel needed to do was just get the win. That was the first priority. Now, goal difference comes secondary to that. You know, of course, you know, when you look at their team, we should have tried to go for more. but we still have to beat Everton. It's not a case of, the last game we can kind of go on the beach if we get injuries or if we're tired or if we're laggy, that we can get away with that. No, that the real goal differences are going to come against the Evertons, the Fulhams, etc., where games are going to be a little bit more expansive and easier to play. And they're the kind of games where we go for that, because if we don't beat United and they count, let's say, for example, they did counter us and we got, we had a lapse of moment, and they go 1-1, then what is the point of the game against Everton? It doesn't mean anything. So what we needed to do was make sure we get our goal and just be defensively solid. If we get a second or a third, cool. If not, your primary objective was to win. But then the reason why, like for me, it becomes kind of
the reason why it's a masterclass is because we pulled out the win?
No, the reason why it becomes a masterclass, right, is Havertz. And the reason why I want to highlight this is because Arteta's job was under a lot of scrutiny by the fans. Forget about the club for a moment. I'm talking solely from the fans. If Havertz flopped or if he succeeded. And who was the moment of magic, right, that happened was Kai Havertz saw Casemiro was in his own world. He was keeping the entire country on side. Anyone could have stayed on side. There was no way you're offside. And the ball obviously gets played into him. And guess what? It's Trossard who links up with him. So the reason why I'm saying it in this manner is that Havertz has been so pivotal in getting these successes, beating the likes of City for the first time. The Liverpool results, the Spurs results, the Chelsea results. We've not lost against a big six or a top six team. And that is the craziest thing. And one of the key introductions to this, yes, Declan Rice, but it's been Kai Havertz. Kai Havertz signing has meant that we've been able to break all of these barriers. And by the way, the likes of Jesus, who we signed, wasn't there, Zinchenko wasn't there. The main thing that was there was Havertz and Rice, who were his biggest signings. If either one of them flop, that's Arteta's talent ID on the line. A lot of people are going to question whether this guy can get it right or not. And he put a lot of faith, especially in Kai Havertz, drilling it into us, saying that he has got attributes that we want in these teams. He is, and by the way, when we talk about fine margins, David Raya, a lot of, including myself, I can put my hands up and say I'm Club Ramsdale, whatever. I don't really care anymore. But Raya was a big one. That caused a lot of controversy. And today he pulled off some saves. He pulled off what he needed to do. Some good distribution. And that's the reason why I'm saying it. It's not necessarily that the whole performance was good. It was that his players made a difference today. His, let's say, job line defining signings made the difference today. Trossard, Havertz, Raya, these were the key players that helped us win against the Big Six. And that's why I'm going to say a masterclass. Old Trafford was not an easy stadium for us. I don't know why people had the expectation. I wanted us to win 5-0. But I didn't have the expectation of that. I said 2-1, 1-0, whatever. Just get a win and get out of there. We kept a clean sheet as well. That's now 11 clean sheets away from home. And you're telling me that we're not improving as a team, that these things, like football isn't just about 5-0 as a masterclass. Sometimes a 1-0 is. Sometimes winning can be a masterclass. And that's what we've done today. We outsmarted them in every way. Everything they wanted to try and do to us, they couldn't do. And look, we got the win. The title hope is still alive. Let's hope Spurs or West Ham or both can do a job for us. I know both aren't going to do it, but let's just hope that Spurs can do something for us.
One more thing. To the people in the chat that are saying it's not a masterclass, could you repeat it to them again? You're not talking about the game. What were your thoughts on the actual game itself? You thought it was quite boring, right?
Yeah, I mean, the game was quite pedestrian. I don't think any real players gave their 100% into this game. I think it was a lot more people, especially from United side, the likes of Garnacho, Diallo, they had a point to prove. That's why they were the most energetic today. But when you're looking at the overall game, I thought it was quite pedestrian. There wasn't a lot of pressing going on. There wasn't the high energy that you expect in this game, the flying tackles, the red card moments, that sort of fiery rivalry. There wasn't there today. There wasn't a moment. There wasn't even a controversial moment. I know people are going to look at the penalty, but there wasn't even that really. That in these sort of games, we have moments we talk about for years and seasons on. Red card moments, these tackles that fly in, and if a player gets injured, things happen, a fight breaks out. None of it, no one gave a crap today. All people wanted to do was get their job and go home. And that's really how I felt. you know what it was? I said it at 60 minutes, right? I tweeted that, you know, when you go with your boys to play at the park and you played all day, like it's getting to the 5th or 6th hour, and you just like, we still want to play, but you just can't be bothered. So you're just passing it around, you're just doing whatever. That's how the game felt for majority of it. It just felt like no one could be bothered. It was a long season. You know, we scored and we were like, yeah, done, job's done. After that, we just slowed down. And there's reasons to that. We've got to play Everton. We've still got a game to go.
Are you rooting for Spurs? Somebody here is saying, come on, you Spurs. No.
I'm not doing it like that. I do want them to win or get a draw, but I'm not going to be like, oh my God, come on. Like, I'm not doing all of that.
People saying Odegaard and Saka disappeared again. That's not true. Saka was poor. Odegaard was decent.
Odegaard didn't disappear. I wouldn't even say Saka disappeared. It was just more not the Saka we expect.
What do you mean by that?
Like, he did what he needed to do. There was moment of link-ups, you know, he took on his man a few times. He put a few good balls in. He took, you know, but it just wasn't like the end. The thing with Saka is, I feel like GA gets into people's heads too much. Like, unless he delivers a goal or an assist, it's like that's when he's at his best. But today, I think he got his job. He'd done the job. I don't think it was good, but I don't think it was bad. I just think it was, yeah, all right, cool.
Yeah, we got Matt in the building. Big up, Matt. What's good?
What's up, guys? Let's go. Going to the final game of the season. Bro, I'm so proud of these players, man. They kept going. And we're going.
They didn't give up. They didn't drop their heads.
Bro, big them up, man. Big them up. Like, how many clean sheets have we got now? What, 18? 18, I swear.
We were literally talking about that just before you came.
11 away from home, and then I think 7 at home or something like that.
Why are we so good away from home? I don't get that. I don't get that. Like,
yeah, Arsenal's away record is crazy. But you know what? Let's take a second to talk about the away record and the fact that we're taking the Premier League title to the final day of the season before we come back to the game. How impressed are you guys with our away record? And also, to take the league title to the final day of the season, no one can now say you bottled it or this or that. We're pushing them to as far as we can.
I'll let you go, Souls.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of like our away performance, that's the key to winning a title. You know, at home, you're expected to win. That's, you know, a given. But it's what you do away from home in the bigger moments, in the bigger games. Like this year, when we look at it, we're unbeaten against the big six. We haven't lost a game to any of them. That's including Liverpool. That's including City. That's including the 2 wins against United, the 2 wins against, the draw and the win against Spurs. You know, the draw and the win against Chelsea as well. The things that let us down were the other games, like the Fulhams, you know, the 2 Aston Villas. They're the kind of games that really let us down. But overall, like, our away record speaks for itself. The clean sheets, like I said, 11 clean sheets. That's impressive.
Listen to this. Arsenal have played 19 away matches this season. Okay? In those 19 away matches, we played all of our away matches. We've lost 3, drawn 3, won 13. I think that's I'm not sure if that's a club record or not. We've picked up 42 points from all of our away games. 42 points. 42 points from a possible, what is it? 19 times 3
I think there are
57. So we picked up 42 points from 57. We've only dropped 15 points this whole season away from home. It seems like a lot, but fucking hell. Like, we barely dropped points away from home, but it feels like we've dropped too much points. It's crazy. Talk to me, guys. Like, am I tripping? 15 points seems like a lot based on how City are, but freaking hell, we barely dropped any points.
We've dropped 15 points
away from home this season.
What was that? Away from home?
Yeah, the same as Man City. Let me show you. So Arsenal and Man City, both of us, have the exact same away record. The exact same away record at this moment in time.
Mm-hmm.
They still have 1 game more to play. Our home record, I think that's where our problem is. We've had 2 defeats at home. We shouldn't be losing at home.
Yeah, which was Aston Villa and what was it?
We shouldn't be losing. Game. We shouldn't be losing at home. Look at that. Man City have 0 losses at home. That's where the league is lost, in my opinion. Those home losses those home defeats to West Ham and Aston Villa. That's where it's costing us. But you know what? Let's get back to this game because clearly guys don't want to speak about that right now. First things first. Let's go to where is it? Let's go to Casemiro. What was Casemiro doing? What was Casemiro doing?
He was at Real Madrid, where they paid
What
the
was
rest.
Casemiro doing? Casemiro was playing the whole team onside for that goal. I personally think he basically assisted us. We need to thank Kai Havertz needs to thank him for the goal because that was an assist and a half to be basically that stupid. And Roy Keane and everyone else was talking about it. They're like, oh, he's a midfielder. He's not used to running back to be running back in position like that. He usually walks and jogs because he's a midfielder. But Casemiro, what a bad performance from him again. Like I feel no sympathy for Manchester United fans. We told them Casemiro is washed. Declan Rice is better than him. They didn't want to hear it. Now this is just more proof.
Bro, like,
you guys have anything to say on Casemiro today?
Right? With Casemiro, right? Like he has so much experience, but I just think he just doesn't give a shit about Man United. Like bro, I honestly don't think he cares because, I mean, you are not jogging back like in an Arsenal game. Like if you just don't care, like, bro, it's just not happening. Like he clearly doesn't care.
It's comical. That defending is comical. Souls, what do you think?
I told them that when they signed Varane, that Ben White would be a better signing. And when they signed Casemiro, I told him he's going to be at the beach. He doesn't care. Let's be real. He's won everything he needed to win. He's won Champions Leagues. He's won it all. The only thing he hasn't really done is the national team. But other than that, like, what is he going to United for? They're not performing. They're not at the top of their game. It's not like they are the United of the early 2000s that, you know, Fergie was managing. No, this is a depleted United side that has nothing, no ambition and nothing to win. And you can see in the attitude, this is meant to be their senior figurehead. This is meant to be the guy that's meant to be the example for this 11, and he's jogging. That shows you everything. That shows you, right, how much respect this Ten Hag guy actually has in the dressing room. He has zero. He's gone anyway. Like, he's pretty much out the door. But it goes to show the problems that they're having. And it's good for us because it kept him on side. But it is what it is, man. This guy, I told these United fans get carried away with their signings. They say they win the summer, and then as soon as it starts going wrong, it's all the Glazers' fault. It's not the Glazers' fault that Casemiro doesn't want to run. You guys celebrated this signing. Sometimes you need to understand why certain players are coming into your club and start, instead of hyping them up.
All right, enough said. Next, we need to talk about the goal scorer and the guy who set up the goal. Kai Havertz set up the goal with the mistake to Casemiro. Kai Havertz links up with Trossard. Trossard now, if I'm not mistaken, he has 14 goals. How many goals does he have?
Who you talking about, Trossard or?
I think he's
Trossard,
got 12.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. How many goals does Trossard have?
Yeah, he's got 12.
I'm sure he has more than that now. I'm sure he has.
I mean, in the Premier League, he has 12.
He has 12 in the Premier League. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. He has 12 in the Premier League. He has some in the Champions League also. But if I'm not mistaken, he's one of our leading goal scorers. Second in the Premier League, 12 goals. Wow. And he's only had 17 starts, to think about it. Man has 12 goals and 17 starts. He's by far one of our most clinical players. He didn't really need to be clinical today because it was a tap in, but good movement and by far a better pick right now than Martinelli. I love Martinelli, but Martinelli could have scored another. If that was Trossard getting the chances that Martinelli got late in the game, that's another 2 goals maybe. But right now, Trossard deserves to keep that spot, and he's going to keep that spot for the rest of the season, the final game, and potentially next year. It might be difficult for Martinelli to get that spot again if Trossard's going to play on this level. He's going to have to improve massively next season, Martinelli, because Trossard's making that left wing position his. But yeah,
Trossard,
what do you guys think?
Is our Diego Jota. Like, he's not exactly like a bang-on starter, but when he plays, he always pops up with a goal. Like, literally, like, pretty much every game, he always pops up with a goal. He's so clinical, and that's what I like about Trossard. Like, yes, he is aging, but we paid, 20 million for him? And he's contributed in over 30 goals in his Arsenal career, and he's only been here for about a year and a half. Like, bro, props to him.
What? He's contributed 30 goals already.
Yeah, 30 GA, I'm fairly sure.
Wow.
So he
Unbelievable
got
stat.
12 goal. Wait, so he's had 16 goals this season with
1 assist.
I'm
Don't worry,
counting
you do the math.
in all comps.
You
Like,
do the
so
math. Let Souls speak about it for a second.
Yeah,
Souls, talk to me.
About which one? Both of them, or just
Both of them, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, Trossard has been a revelation in terms of what we needed right now. I understand the Michaela Mudryk situation in terms of wanting to go and get him for being a future star, but Trossard has been a blessing in disguise for us. As much as we've been clowned for, missing out on Mudryk, he would have been a project player. He would have been someone who we needed to bring in and nurture and actually bring up to the level that we need. Whereas if Trossard's a player who's Premier League experience, arguably one of the most clinical players in the league in the past sort of few seasons. Every chance he gets, he pretty much is going to put away. When you look at like the likes of Kai Havertz, for example, I've been telling people, and I will keep telling people, that this guy is a baller. When he first got linked to us, I remember being clowned for backing the signing and saying that there is actually logic to this signing. A lot of people didn't want to hear it. And now people are starting to see what a lot of us saw and why we backed the signing from the very get-go, the attributes he brings, the off-ball movement he brings. And the other thing I've been clowned for is saying his footballing IQ is borderline genius. This guy is one of the smartest, most genius footballers on the planet. And this goes for every single player. He is up there in terms of his intelligence in reading the game, his movement, his ability to be in the right positions when he needs to be. Like, no one else saw Casemiro being so, like, for him to be on side and keeping that, kind of line. And obviously Ben White saw it, played the ball over, and that's what created the moment. And that is what Havertz brings to this team. As many other players, right, may bring other attributes, this guy is a genius off the ball. Everything he does, his pressing, his defensive numbers, his ability to just defend from the front, which, by the way, only Martin Odegaard used to do for us. Now you've got Kai Havertz and Martin Odegaard on the same wavelength, pressing the teams, pushing them into mistakes, and then reading the game well. And that's what you get in a combination of the two. Like, when Havertz has had opportunities, he has been putting them away as well. He's now on double-figure goals, and I think double-figure assists as well for the season. This is his best output season in the Premier League, and this is his first season for Arsenal. He's only going to get better from here. We're only going to add to the players that we've got, the squad that we've got, the depth that we have, and that's only going to improve him. So I'm happy with what we've got here. And you know what? It's going to be scary what Havertz is going to produce for us. And it's not going to be scary for us, but the rivals, I'm telling you, you've got to fear what Havertz is bringing.
That's why Odegaard is...
Fear Havertz.
Wow. Yeah. That's why Kai Havertz works so well with Martin Odegaard, is because they're both highly, like, got such high IQ within that team that they just work really well together. And I've done the math on the Trossard goals and assists. He has 29 goals and assists if you exclude the Community Shield goal. Because do we really include that?
No, you include that.
that. Okay. He has 30 goals and assists.
Yes,
in
30 goals and
games.
assists. Wow.
That's mad.
That is mad. Let's talk about that penalty shout. The penalty shout needs to be spoken about because Thomas Partey slips. He's on the floor. Diallo barges into Gabriel Magalhaes, falls over quite easily. And if you look at it from both angles, to me, if a referee would have given it, because Thomas Partey touches his leg, they would have not overturned it. But since it was not given, there's not enough evidence to give it because it's very soft. My question to you guys is this in the same similarity to the Kai Havertz penalty against Bournemouth? Or because I think we relatively got lucky, because if the referee would have given it, then he would have not been able to overturn it because there's not enough evidence to say you're going to overturn that. But if he didn't give it, as he didn't, then there's not enough evidence to give it. So it's a 50-50 call that I think either way, you really can't complain. It's kind of crazy. It's one of those 50-50s. Thomas Partey's leg is clearly there. He did fall over. He didn't slide in. He did also get the ball, but he got the trailing leg. So with that being said, is this a penalty in your opinion? To me, I think on another day, a referee would have given that. Personally,
Yeah, but it would have been overturned by VAR, because if you actually watch the incident back, he gets the ball first, and that's all you need to know.
Apparently that doesn't matter. Does he get the player's leg?
No.
Yes,
Does
it
he
does.
stop the player
first.
No, it's ball first, then the player, and that's fine. That's not a penalty.
That's why for me that it's not a pen, because he does get the ball quite clearly. Yes, he does catch the player afterwards, but
was Bukayo
the majority
Saka's a
of
penalty?
tackles, that's always going to happen. No,
Was Bukayo Saka's a penalty?
Sorry,
It's not the same, but
was Bukayo Saka's
which one are you talking about? Like
the one versus Neuer.
Yes,
because Neuer doesn't get the ball at all. Like, he doesn't touch it at all. There's no touch on the ball.
Saka was trying to turn away from Neuer as well. So why would he go down? Like, he tried to stay on his feet, as well. Like, he didn't try to dive or anything like that. He tried to stay on his feet.
So you guys let me know what you guys think. So no penalty was given. Ahmad was probably their best player at that time. He was very shifty, shaky. I think he was trying to sell it. He was trying to really get the penalty. He was trying to win the penalty. But I think that was not a situation where you can say you got robbed by the referee. No. Obviously, it's such a subjective decision that it's understandable if it's not given. And I think, you know what? If that was me, and I was a Manchester United fan right now, I would have looked at that and said, you know what, that could have gone our way, but they only have themselves to blame, because they literally handed us a goal with their first chance, and then they didn't end up getting a penalty, and they didn't do anything for the rest of the 90 minutes. So really and truly, they can't look back at that and say this is why they lost, or this is why they couldn't get points. But they can look at that and say, you know what, on another day, that decision could have gone their way. That's what I'm saying.
I don't think there is a situation where they get it.
Trossard.
Sorry?
Are you talking
Sulz? Repeat that again?
Yeah, I don't think there is a situation where they get that penalty.
Really? Why?
Yeah, because the ruling is if you get the ball first, it's fine. The ruling, for a foul, is the follow through doesn't matter unless it's a red card situation. That's not a red card situation. He gets the ball. It's not a dangerous foul. It's not a reckless foul. That's where the follow through doesn't matter. Where follow through matters is when it's a dangerous, injury-ridden tackle. That's when they look at the follow through. In this situation, the ball was gotten first, and that's it. It can't be a foul. Otherwise, do you know how many penalties they'd have to give? There'll be one every game, or 2, 3 every game, if we went with this logic. So it's not, by the rules, it's not.
Can I also just say something on Leandro Trossard, right? If he had Gabriel Martinelli's pace, bro, this guy would be one of the best left wingers in the Premier League. Like, because he's so clinical and he just doesn't have much pace. If he has pace, my God, what a player he would be. He'd be incredible.
I don't think he's relatively slow, though.
No, he's not slow, but he's not exactly fast like Gabriel Martinelli. Gabriel Martinelli can just put the burners on, and just leave people in the dust. I don't think Trossard can necessarily do that.
That's true. Let's go on to the next topic. You guys are okay with this decision? Everyone's good with that? I just want to know, what did you guys think about what Saliba was doing today? Because there was one moment specifically where I looked at it and I said to myself, Saliba's a beast. Saliba is an absolute beast. And did you guys see that challenge where on Garnacho, where he basically
was it in the first half or second?
Garnacho's one-on-one with him, and he basically just takes him out.
Yeah.
Like he didn't hurt, he didn't drop him, he didn't make him fall, he didn't do none of that. He just made him look silly by taking the ball off him in that position and absolutely made him look like an idiot. And now this is Saliba has had a man of the match performance away at Man City, a man of the match performance at Old Trafford, at Anfield, and now at Old Trafford, Anfield, and at the Etihad. At the Etihad, he's had man of the match performances in 3 different places. Guys, we need to talk about my man right now. What we saying? Talk to me.
I kind of think that like he's trying to tell Gabriel, bro, I'm still the best defender here. No. But but like he is a generational talent, man. Like I've not seen a defender like him since Virgil van Dijk. Like genuinely speaking, the way he, moves to the ball, the way he is on the ball, the way he tackles, the way he's so composed at tackling and at just passing. He just reminds me of like a prime Virgil van Dijk. And I'm so happy he plays for Arsenal because he was immense today. Like he genuinely was immense today. Like I don't think he put a foot wrong at all.
What are you saying, Souls?
Saliba is the best centre back in the world. There's no question. The way that he is, the way that he can play, his technical ability to just everything he does on the ball is just so smooth. It's like he's seen the game before it's happened. He's watched it in his dream the night before. It's like he knows every move a player's about to make. He's in the right place. He's sweeping up. Even when he does get the ball off you, he's got a humility. He turns you. He's pressure resistant. The way that he can then pick a pass out as well, like drive with the ball and create attacks for us as well. That's been the biggest difference maker for Arsenal and for Arteta as well, is the introduction of William Saliba. If we don't have a player like him, everything collapses. I'm not saying that, we can't find another, like Urian Timbers can do similar things, but the way he just doesn't get fazed by things, he is the epitome of what we talk about when we talk about players with a good mentality. Mistakes can happen, things can go against us, but Saliba never loses his head. There's very, very, very little moments or even games that you can point out and go, Saliba was crap. This guy, he may not have monstrous performances, but look at the City games, look at the Liverpool games, the Spurs games, these kind of games, right? This guy raises to the occasion every single time. This is the definition of a mentality monster. This is the definition of an elite, you can call it potential, but a world-class centre-back. He is the best in the world. There isn't anyone better than him right now. He is the definition of what a young centre-back should be thriving to be.
I definitely do think he's one of those guys that is up there. Now, Saliba's great. Gabriel Magalhaes is great. But this man has not missed 1 minute of one game this season. He's played every single minute of the Premier League, guys. We're game week 37. He's about to play every single minute of every single game in the Premier League. I wouldn't be surprised if Mikel Arteta does not sub him against Everton, because this guy played every minute, number one. Number two, he is defensively one of the best defenders I've seen. Like, he's well ahead of his age when it comes to intelligence, on IQ on the pitch. He's athletic and he has all the athletic gifts, but he doesn't rely on it 24/7. He uses his head instead of his athleticism 24/7. Yes, he might challenge here and there and slide tackle, but those slide tackles are that's like his signature move. I've not seen him get given a penalty for one of those ever, I don't think. Have we? I don't remember one being given for Gabriel Saliba. A Saliba slide challenge. I've seen Gabriel Magalhaes get given one of those for a slide challenge, but not Saliba. As for right now, I think this season, Gabriel Magalhaes and Saliba have wrapped up Premier League team this season. People can talk about Van Dijk being all great and everything and carrying that Liverpool side, but Gabriel Magalhaes and Saliba have kept it going where his team slowed down. I think he fully deserves that at this point. And anyone who debates with that, anyone who challenges me on that, let me know why you think otherwise. Now, there's one more player we have to discuss before we move on to for the day. There's one more thing that we need to speak about. We spoke about the game. We don't need to speak about anything else. Onana, what a game by Onana. Onana was saved them. Onana literally saved Manchester United. Onana was literally Man United's savior today. The amount of saves Onana made, we lacked cutting edge, but can we also put a little bit of that on Onana being great and just having a great game? Or do you think it was just us having poor finishing?
I think it was a bit of both, to be honest. Onana was their best player. Seriously. but like I do think we weren't really clinical. I mean, it's not that we weren't clinical. It was kind of that we just couldn't get into those positions in order to actually, get a good shot off.
I
Because Man
disagree. I
United
think
did quite
Martinelli
well
had some good
defensively.
chances, but he was not clinical.
Who are we talking about here?
Martinelli.
I mean,
Martinelli in the
it's not
second
even what's
half
come
had
out
some
within
really
this
good
season's
chances from
disappointment.
close range, and I felt like he shot it straight at the keeper every time. But
I'm
maybe that's just
struggling
me.
to remember what chance Martinelli had.
He
'Cause I
basically
think I might
it
have
was
been
similar to
looking off my system.
Mbappe in the Champions League final. I mean, in the World Cup final, where you're dribbling, and then you find yourself in the middle of the box, right in front of the goalkeeper, and there's players on each side, and you just have to shoot it. And he shot it straight at the keeper.
Mm.
Anyways, Souls, what do you think? Poor finishing or Onana saved them?
No, I think there were moments where, like, especially I think that was the Odegaard shot in the second picture. That was a good save. There were moments where he's kept them in the game. As much as people want to say it's poor finishing, and that maybe we didn't. It is a combination of the two things, but I do think Onana had a better game than I've seen him have in a long time, especially for the amount of chances they've conceded. Because when we look at him in previous games, when he's faced this number of shots, teams have beaten them 3-4-0. And Onana was one of the key reasons to why, like Saliba's flick on, for example, like Onana was in the right places for some of them. And yes, we needed to be a bit more clinical in our ways, but Onana had a good game, and I don't think we can tarnish him too much today.
I'm just gonna say, sell Thomas Partey.
I agree.
Because this is his final season at Arsenal. I don't think we're going to be having him next year. He did not have a good performance today. He looked very shaky. He's not reliable due to his injuries. He looked off it today. He was very sloppy in possession, constantly giving the ball away in dangerous positions, constantly making mistakes. That penalty shout, it could have been given as a penalty if another referee on another day wanted to give it. He got away with one there. I think Thomas Partey today had a disaster. He seemed like a disaster waiting to happen, but luckily he kind of fixed up later. But Arteta basically kept him on for majority of the game and subbed on Jorginho late in the game. Even though Partey was making mistake after mistake, he kept him on the pitch. And at the end of the day, it didn't cost us. But from the early minutes, giving the ball away to Rasmus Højlund, giving the penalty shout, passing the ball back to Gabriel Magalhaes at full pace, with literally attackers all over Gabriel Magalhaes. I thought today this was one of the worst performances I've seen from Thomas Partey in a while. And I've seen some bad performances a couple years ago, but this was one that made me think, you know what, his time at Arsenal might be finished. I don't know if
Could I
I'm
say a
overreacting.
few things on him, Egal?
Yeah.
So today he was quite poor. He nearly costed us the game. What I will give him credit for is that he stopped the Man United playing in Rasmus Højlund. Apart from that one chance that he gave to Højlund, they couldn't find him because Partey kept on cutting them out. But this guy needs to go in the summer. And I say this because we can still get some decent amount of cash for him. Because, like, if we keep him another season and sell him next year, we ain't getting anything because his contract's pretty much up. So I think, like, if we want to get some of the fee back, I think we need to sell him this summer and get me Frankie de Jong. Get me Frankie de Jong and play Rice, de Jong, and Odegaard. That midfield wins the league.
I don't know. Souls, you know Frankie de Jong better than me. What are you saying?
I mean, when it comes to Thomas Partey, I'm 50-50. I'm not like sell him at all costs kind of thing, but I do think there is quality there that he brings in terms of bringing a bit of solidity into the team. But, we've got to look at it. He's got a year left on his deal. Next year, he'll go on a free if we don't, book up our ideas, or if we can't get a contract extension, or if we don't have a clause that we can trigger. So we've got to look at the hype behind the player as well. If he continues on this trajectory for another season, Are there going to be many admirers for him? And if there are, they're only going to want to pay like maybe 20 million at most. Whereas with this summer, we can sell him on the basis that, yes, he's been fit again for like 40 million, 45 million, maybe even 50 million if like a team like Saudi comes in, in the Saudi league comes in for him. But we need to be careful with when we sell players as well as when we hold them. Like, is Partey going to bring £50 million worth of value? No, because he hasn't been reliable. He hasn't shown he can be reliable. Yes, he's played the last sort of 5, maybe 6 games, but he has got that ability to be injured again. Same as Kieran Tierney, So, if we can get good value for him, I think he needs to go. I think if we can't get like the value that we need, sort of £40 million mark, then we keep him because he can do a job. He is a player that can be a world beater on his day, but he hasn't looked good in the games that he has played. So we need to weigh up our options. Someone's going to be interesting with Thomas Partey because there's a lot of players that we're looking to offload. When it comes to Frankie de Jong is someone that's been underutilized at Barcelona and been used quite wrong in a sense of he's played centre-back, he's been playing as a deep-lying 6, which doesn't always bring the best out of him. When you bring him in with another DM, for example, like a Rice, who can be a bit more destructive, who can bring the physicality, you get the best out of De Jong. And when you want to get sort of an upgrade on, let's say, Granit Xhaka in the left centre mid, in terms of someone who can control the tempo, who can break the lines, you're bringing in a Thomas Partey, but amplified. Someone who's also got the ability to see a goal. And that's what you're going to bring. You're going to bring a lot of vision. You're going to bring a lot of passing, a guy that can dribble in tight areas as well, which we lack in this team. We've got a lot of physicality and players who are big, but we don't have players who can dribble in the midfield like Odegaard can. When you've got 2 players who can defend but also attack, that's going to be immense. Imagine De Jong and Odegaard with Havertz up top, all 3 of them pressing you. That's going to be insane. It's going to be a nasty thing to see. And that can be a literal swap deal in a sense because Barcelona want Thomas Partey. We can go, okay, we'll give you Thomas Partey. We'll pay about 40 million for De Jong. That's about the value that we want to get for Thomas Partey, and they want to see about 80 million for De Jong. That could be a good, a more monetary value deal for us. That we offload Thomas Partey, bring in someone younger who can do everything Thomas Partey can do, and probably more. Actually, no, he can definitely do more. So. Yeah, it just depends. That's how I see it.
It's 50-50. People in the chat, do me a favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button right now. It's absolutely free. It doesn't cost you a penny. As for the boys on here, big up to you guys for joining me. Of course, we're not done. We're going to be doing the player ratings right now. But before we go any further, let me just make sure we touched on everything that needed to be touched on. We spoke about Trossard. We spoke about the few chances that we had. We spoke about everything. Let me give you guys some fun facts. Let me give you guys some fun facts. 1 second. Usually they have some fun facts after we play somebody. They usually give us some fun facts. So let's see if there's some fun facts.
So whilst you're finding that, Skills will answer your question on the panel show.
Oh, I found it. Arsenal have won their 3rd successive Premier League game against Manchester United for the first time since September of 1998. While this season, just 4th time we've done the double over them in the competition after the 1997-98, 2002, 2001, 2002, and 2006, 2007. So that's the 4th time we've done the double over Manchester United. This is Arsenal's 27th win at Old Trafford in the Premier League's history. We've only won there 27 times. And then Manchester United have lost 19 times in all competitions this season. Since 1979, 78, and 79, they've never lost more games than they've lost this season. 19 losses, guys. 9 of those defeats are at Old Trafford. This is the joint highest in their club's history. Arteta well and truly is setting records for the right reasons today. Wow. Talk to me. Souls?
Yeah, I mean, look, what we're doing this season and what United are doing is a contrast to how they were in the early 2000s. Like usually, where we're going ahead with it. This kind of game is technically it's a title decider, but it's meant to be between the 2 teams. We're now competing for their rivals who no one even considered when the height of this rivalry happened. Man City were in their own, doing their own thing. No one really really bothered by them. Whereas now you're looking at United in that situation where they're struggling to finish in the top half of the table. They're struggling to get into the 8th and 9th position.
19 defeats in the
half the league they're losing.
No, in all competitions.
Yeah, like teams are losing, like teams are beating them. You know, they suffered a 4-0 defeat against Crystal Palace. These are the kinds of things that you just don't associate with Manchester United. But now you're seeing the reality of their downfall at the moment. Now, obviously, Ineos are coming in. We'll see kind of what happens on that basis. But the records that Erik ten Hag is breaking, and not the good ones, by the way, the poor records he's breaking are just horrible. They're horrific. Because as much as I'm loving their downfall, this is meant to be a rival for us. This is meant to be someone that we compete against. We want to take on the best of United. And this is what we're getting. It's sad to see because even though Arsenal have been through a period of, you could call it 2 decades of, turmoil, we weren't ever this bad. Yes, we finished twice, 2 8th finishes, for example, but we were never this, like there seems to be no light at the end of this. It seems like, when does it go right for them? They've had several managers in that space. They're now having a slight structure and an ownership change. Will it change? And I don't think even United fans can confidently say when they're going to be back. And that's the horrific thing. With Arteta, we were starting to see signs from his very first season or his very first 6 months that there could be hope. Second season, third season, we're seeing developments on what he was doing. But with United, it just seems to be going downhill every single manager they appoint. So it's sad to see. I'll be honest. I want United to succeed. I want the league to be as competitive as it can be, but they're just not up for it at the moment.
Can I also just reiterate, right, that we are 32 points ahead of Man United?
Yeah, which is the biggest gap in the history of the Premier League.
Mad.
We've never had this much of a gap between the two clubs. Even when United at its pomp and we were, there's never been a 32-point gap between us.
It's just crazy. That is just crazy.
32 points.
We've got 8.
This is the biggest points gap between United and Arsenal in the history of the Premier League, like between the two clubs.
What was our lowest point total for Arteta's first season?
We finished with 61. That's what Ange is on right now.
Oh, wow. And Man United, so they would get 6. So they would finish on 60, or could finish on 60 points, which will be lower than Arteta's first ever season.
Are you sure? Are you sure it's 32 points? Have you checked it?
Yeah, bro, it is 32 points, bro. They're on 54 points, and we're on 86.
Mental.
That's 32. That is ridiculous.
That is ridiculous. Somehow they're 8th.
Yeah.
Is the league shit?
No.
They should be like 10th, like if we're being real.
Is the Premier League shit or is it?
No,
what's going on?
You know what it is? It's one of the first times in a very long time we've had sort of 3 teams properly competing for the league. I understand Liverpool have fallen off recently, but this is the first time where not as many points have been available. When you think about it, Arsenal, City, you need to be undefeated to win this league. Pretty much. You can't really lose many games. We're having the most totals for winning a league title. For relegation, it's gone from 40 points is a guarantee to, you have to get 43 to 45 points now to guarantee yourself. So the league has just shifted up. Everything is more. That's all it is.
Forest are on 29 points, right?
Let's do the player ratings before we go on for too long, and before we go any further, who is your man of the match? Everybody in the chat, we should all say it at the same time. Saliba,
yeah, facts.
Man of the match,
it has
right?
to be. I don't think many people stepped up today.
They gave Ben White and Gabriel Magalhaes up there, but I thought Ben White was good.
How did they give Ben White?
No, Ben White was integral. He made some crucial clearances.
He got gotten at a few times by Garnacho. He got ripped.
No, but he also made some crucial saves. I mean, not saves, last ditch tackles and everything.
True, but overall, I'd say it wasn't his best game, if we're being honest.
Okay. Next, let's do the player ratings. What are we saying today? Player ratings.
I think Raya a 7. Like, he actually
Sorry?
made some pretty good saves. I can't lie. He made some pretty good saves.
What are you giving to Raya?
A 7.
Yeah. Didn't have to do
I mean,
much.
it's definitely not an 8, but it's definitely not 6.
Yeah,
didn't
it's
have
not a
much.
low rating. He didn't
Yeah.
have to do much. Raya didn't have to do much. So
I need to have a look at his stats because I thought he had a pretty
man
decent
of
game.
the match, and let me just write this down 1 second. So the man of the match was Saliba, and player ratings. Raya, we're gonna give him a 7. Souls, you're good with that? 7 for Raya?
Yeah, I don't think he had much to do, but he also did his job. So yeah, 7.
Yeah, he didn't have much to do. People in chat, let me know. Make sure you guys do hit that like button. For some reason, the live videos don't do as well, but the TikToks, everyone's loving the videos on TikTok. So keep it up, guys, on TikTok. It's just, on X, on Twitter, you guys are loving it. I got over 300 people on Twitter, but only 36 of you guys on YouTube. So come join us over on YouTube. My channel is Egal Talks Football. But yeah, continue with the player ratings. Next, we have Ben White. Ben White 7. Didn't really
I'd
put
say
up a lot.
6.5.
I'll give him a 7. Just because he got done by a couple guys. Like Manchester United's man of the match got skinned by Odegaard.
Which I understand, but it wasn't like we've got to rate him to their standard. And like
He
was
literally
it a
got
7?
dropped. But it is what it is. Saliba 7.
8.5 or
No,
9.
no.
Yeah.
What am I talking about? 7? I'm sorry. 8.5. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man of the match. I would give it 9.
Yeah, 9.
Yeah.
That's also 8.5, 9. I'm not. Yeah.
Yeah. Man had 6 clearances, 1 amazing tackle in the box. Gabriel Magalhaes 8.
7.5 is what I was thinking.
I didn't think he was like that.
Yeah,
good.
7.5.
No, but we got a clean sheet away from home at Old Trafford.
Yeah, that's
he
true.
was-
Like,
And he
I'd
was
probably give him
he
a
was
7.5.
he was one of he was one of the best defenders out there. So 7.5,
I'd
I
probably give
think
him a
is fair.
7.5.
He did his job well. Tomiyasu though did not have a good game, I don't think.
I didn't really notice him, which I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing.
I'm gonna
I don't
give him a
know what he did.
6.5.
But
I
you're
did
gonna
like
give
Tomiyasu.
no. But you're giving Ben White a. Okay, that's interesting.
I gave Ben
Tomiyasu
White a
at
7.
all.
Okay, I'm gonna give Tomiyasu a 6 then.
But then how's Ben White getting a 7?
I'd probably give both of them
Ben White was
6.5s.
crucial in last ditch tackles, and every time that they went down his side, they tried their best, but they couldn't knock the
He
door
got
down.
skinned. No. Don't be disingenuous. Like I love Ben White, but it wasn't his best day today.
Okay, people offered nothing down Tomiyasu's side, but Tomiyasu offered nothing going forward.
Yeah, but even the chat agrees Ben White should have been a 6 as well.
Okay, so we're gonna give Tomiyasu a 7 because we gave Ben White a 7.
I don't think either should get 7s. I think they both
Yeah,
should
no, I
have
think they
6.
should be 6.5s.
Yeah.
But what I would say about Tomiyasu was that
Okay, so we'll lower.
he was not 100% fit.
Because I already
I'll
gave
say
Ben
that.
White a 7, I'm willing to give Tomiyasu a 7. How about that?
I mean, that's you. I'm giving them both a 6. I don't think
I'm
neither
giving them
will.
both a 6.5.
Somebody on here gave them a 7.5, but not me. Thomas Partey, horrible. Worst player on the pitch, 5.
6.
What do you think?
I mean,
6.
according to my ratings, I'm giving him a 5 because I've given Ben White and Tomiyasu.
He scared me
6.
too much.
Yeah.
Thomas Partey put the club under pressure a lot of times. Declan Rice was a quiet game for him.
Yeah.
I actually thought he had a pretty poor game. Bro, I can't lie. Like, I actually thought he had a pretty poor game. Like, I'd probably give him a 6.
For his standards, yes, I agree.
For his standard, that was poor.
Did he?
Okay, so he gets the same as Tomiyasu and Ben White.
But this is a tough one. I'd say a 7.
Odegaard was doing well, but
I'm
no
gonna say a
end products
7.
from the
I
rest
think
of
he
the
did.
team.
He did what we kind of expected of him in a way.
No end products from the rest of the team, though. That's the problem.
He tried to do things, but the attackers didn't really do much with it. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't really say that's down to him, but I'd
I'll
probably
say
give
it's
him
7 overall.
6.5.
Though. Yeah.
7?
Yeah.
That's
we're
what I'm
giving him
giving
the-
it.
Yeah, no, I'm happy with that.
7 works. I'm good with 7. Saka.
He's got to get the
Another
same as
game
Brighton.
that was
Yeah, I
not
think
his
like
best.
6.5, 6. Yeah, he's got
I'll
to
give
get
him a 6. I'll give him a 6. Just keep it moving with Saka. Kai Havertz, another great game. Give him a 7.5, 8.
I'll put him a
7.5.
7.5.
Yeah, don't think it was quite an 8.
Yeah.
I think a goal would have been an 8.
Trossard 8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think overall he had a quality game.
Martinelli gets a 6. He did not have a good cameo. He could have scored 2.
I thought he was going to score.
could have
like
scored
his
2
pace
goals.
behind, yeah.
He could have easily
What's
scored 2
going on
goals.
with him, man? I had so much stocks in him this season
I
because of what he did last
I
season.
honestly thought he was going to do an N'Golo Kante 2.0 situation where he scored.
He nearly did. Yeah. He nearly did.
Yeah.
But great. I mean, it was great from Wan-Bissaka, but I think do you know what it is? I think we made too many excuses this season for Martinelli.
He's too slow at releasing the ball.
Yeah,
he's not taking the shot.
I've said it to people. He's a striker. He's not
over
a
his
winger.
feet. Martinelli just seems like he's not himself.
He's been poor this season. He's been very poor this season. And I had so many stocks in him because of what he did last season. I was like, this season, he could hit 20 goals.
I blame Arteta. Arteta changed the tactics and he tried his best to make it work.
This is what I just said. We're making too many excuses for Martinelli. A simple answer is he's not a winger. That's what I'm always going to say, and I'll keep it. He's not a winger. You know why I say no? He's not. And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. There's a nuances with wingers, right? And one thing that you get taught when you're growing up and getting coached as a winger is to look for your options. You've got to be able to scan the pitch. The one thing that he doesn't do, but what he does do is everything a striker does. He knows where the goal is, he knows where the ball is, and that's it. I'm not saying it's a fluke necessarily, but what I'm saying is he was played as an inside forward. He was basically our striker because Gabriel Jesus was drifting out wide a lot more. He was more central. Go watch it back and watch his positions. He was more central. He was in the box more. That's why I keep saying to people, he's not a winger. When you're looking at a winger, you talk about people with certain attributes, looking up, knowing your options, knowing when to cross it, and he doesn't do that.
We're going to give him a 5.5 and keep it moving. Next, we're going to give it to Jesus. Not enough time. KBR, not enough time. Jorginho, not enough time.
What are we giving Arteta?
Masterclass, 10.
I'm giving him a 10, yeah.
Nah, I'm lying. I thought he could have attacked the game more. I would have given him a 7.
I actually thought he did quite well. Like, I'd probably give him an 8 because he approached the game in a manner that was probably the best approach that he could have, because Man United are this sort of counter-attacking team. So the fact that we just sat back and just let them attack us was probably in our hands a bit. And the substitutions he made as well were good. I thought Trossard, like it was sort of his game done pretty much. We kind of needed more legs, more pace in the team. And he brought on Martinelli. He did exactly that, just didn't score. But
guys,
I'm fed up. Arteta gets
let me just stop the ratings for a second, and let me just ask you guys this: are Arsenal going to win the league because of Spurs?
I think it could happen, because if it was at the Etihad, I'd probably say no chance. But it's at Tottenham Stadium, and Pep Guardiola, like, that's his worst nightmare for whatever reason. Why, I don't know.
Do you know what? I'm a bit 50-50 because the issue is he's played against Conte and Mourinho, who are more pragmatic managers who defend first and attack second. Whereas now he's going against an attacking first manager who doesn't really give a shit about defending. So it's interesting because when you look at the Liverpools, for example, when they've had success, or when you look at teams who generally beat beat Man City, are the ones who show no fear. They're the ones who tend to get good results out of City. Do you know what? It's because it's the last 2 games. I have no hope that they're going to drop points. I just don't believe they will, because they're just too good.
You got to believe, though. You got to believe.
No, I thought Fulham would at least hope. No, they panned them for
fun.
No, I don't care. I've got you guys. Fuck off, all of you guys, man. Letdowns. I'm not,
You know what?
you know
It
what? I'm not
it
actively
is what
looking.
it is. Regardless, I'm proud of the team. They've done their best to fight until the final day of the season. That's all we can ask for. If we win, we win. If we lose, we lose. It is what it is. We go again next year. For now, let's just hope. And Tottenham, do us a favor if you can. You could potentially get Champions League football if Liverpool beat Aston Villa. We'll have to wait and see. Anyways, we're out of here, people. I'll catch you guys on Vibes from the 6 at 8 o'clock. And we are gone. Catch you guys on the next video. Big up Matt, big up Souls, big up everyone who's watched. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.